Week 24, first grade, tree rings. Teachers, this week we're going to conclude our plants unit and we're going to look at some tree rings. Now I have some real tree rings in the science lab, but right now I'm just demonstrating on a piece of cardstock I got off the internet. When you start reading a tree ring, and always make sure you caution the kids to use the tip of a pencil, not to make marks on it. We don't want tree rings with lots of pencil spots on them. And for sure we don't want any markers on them. I don't mind if they point to the ring with their pencil, but please don't mark on the tree rings, the real ones. You're going to start, this right here indicates the birth of that tree, when that tree first became a seedling and started to grow out of the ground. So that little green dot is what that is all about. So we don't count this right here, but we start counting from the center and we count out. So you count your white spots right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So this tree is 18 years old. Now, there are some areas here that are wider. This is extremely wide right here. This is a really good question to ask the kids. So what do you think this means? Because when scientists look at tree rings, this tells them for the last 17 years, this is what the climate was in this environment. This actually tells them this was about normal rainfall, rained a little bit more this year, a little less this year, and then we got to this wide spot and it rained a lot, so this tree grew a lot. But look right here, we have this tiny little line here between two dark lines, which means, I hope that they'll say it was dry, which they need to, understand there was a drought that year. And then we had a lot of rain here, and then it kind of evened out as we went on. There was a lot of rain this last year. The bark of the tree always heals over any old growth, because this tree has two injuries. It has an injury right here, and it has an injury right in here. So something happened to this tree. What are some things that can happen to a tree? This could have been a lightning strike right here. This could have been a bug infestation where insects got in it. It could have been another limb falling against it when it was a young tree, because you can look way back here. It happened when the tree was just 1 year old. Something happened to it. So a big limb or another tree could have fallen against it and eventually rotted and fallen away, because look, now it's okay right here. Really good scientific questions to ask kids about these rings. That's why I wanted to introduce them. This is your winter wood, where there's no growth going on, and it just lays on a heavier outside layer of cambium. They don't have to know that word. Now, this tree is 18 years old, and so we could actually, take today's date, 2014, subtract 18 and get to when this tree was actually germinated in the ground. But there's an easier way to do this. Yes, you could do that, but not with first grade. So what we're going to do is we're going to make our own tree ring. We're going to start with a green center, just like we did on that real tree ring right there. And then we're going to take and we're going to make some rings of how old we are. And since this is first grade, you're either going to be 6 or 7 years old. So I'm going to make me some rings. One, I didn't mean to pick up red. I'm going to go back to my brown. 1. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then one more, 6. So if they know when they're born, they could put their birth date right here, like 1/1/14. And then that's the day you were born, and then you're just a baby right here. Year 1, maybe you learned to walk. Now they're not going to remember this, but you can kind of help them. Year 2, what they learned to do? They learned to talk. Now you don't have to put all these ideas in their head. They might think of something. What happened in year 3? They might say, I don't know, got a cat, got a dog, I don't know, whatever is important to them when they were 3. They don't all have to say the same thing. Maybe at 4, they learned to ride a bike. You know, at 5, they started school. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need one more ring. That didn't make me enough rings. So I'm going to make one more. Now, let them think of something that happened to them right now this year. I don't know what it could be. Maybe they went to the Grand Canyon. I don't know. I'm just making up things. They went on vacation. Something. They'll think of things. You know, you could have them write sentences around here. Of course, my rings are pretty bad, and they probably aren't going to be much better. But then have them put their name on it, student name. And then have them, how old is my tree? My tree is 6 years old. So they've just gained a skill in knowing how to read the weather, the climate, precipitation of that ecosystem that we just studied. They know how to read a tree ring. They know how to make a tree ring. So, you know, if they had some kind of little injury, maybe they broke an arm or something right here riding their bike, they could draw a little indention in here and say, there's my little injury. I'm always going to have that little mark on my body. So I have a little injury right here, just like this tree ring did. Those injuries are always going to be there, but you know what? That body heals up, and eventually their bark or their skin's going to heal over all that. But if you did an x-ray, the doctor could still see where there was a break. So that's just a good activity to get kids understanding that scientists use these to study our weather. And they can do a little timeline of themselves like a tree.